Hello Virgo, welcome to your February 2025 forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh, so pleased to be here with you. You'll notice from the background that I am traveling, so thank you for your patience in both the changing backdrops and also the difference in posting schedule. Hopefully in a month or so it'll get normalized, but in the meantime, we've got stuff to talk about. This reading is going to help you navigate through twists, turns, and opportunities in the month ahead, and I always like to begin with some channeled messages. For you, the image that came through basically was this beautiful thistle, and thistles, I love the flowers, but the leaves and the stem, they're filled with prickles. And so there is this sort of, it's almost like a layer of armor that it kind of represents. And I feel like for many of you, there is a chance to decide when to keep that armor up and when to kind of allow people in and be a little bit more open and communicative and vulnerable. So there's a time and a place for the protection. The protection energy came through loud and clear. So I'm glad you're working on that. There's a myth with respect to like Scottish history where soldiers stepped on the thistle and warned the Scottish of like an invasion. So it's also about listening to warning signs in your body, in your environment, and paying attention to things before they become something more. So it's almost like you could get ahead of a tower situation if you pick up on those little tiny hints and signals all along the way. The thing that really stuck with me, and this is what I want to focus on in particular with this totem, is when the thistle has finished blossoming, that beautiful purple blossom, then there's thistle down, which is very much like what you would see with a dandelion seed pod. So these little kind of like propeller-like things that get carried off by the wind. So when I was a kid, you always used to pick those up and make a wish, right? So when I'm thinking of the thistle, it's about following up on your wishes and dreams. And then you have to still kind of like a candle when you blow it out or any of these seed pods, you have to take action. You have to breathe it into life. So what are you doing this month to take a goal, an ambition, a desire, or a dream, and basically breathe life into it? This could be research. It could be a key communication with someone, sending an email, making a telephone call, etc. It can also be like personal development or growth that you're doing. But whatever you do right now in February, that seed of intention is going to get carried out through the rest of the year. It is not too late to set your New Year's resolutions and goals. You can do it any point of the year. It's not just magical only on New Year's Eve. So this is a month to really decide what's next. What's the next chapter going to look like? All right, close your eyes if you will, and let's begin the reading. I'd like you to imagine that the midday sun is shining above you, that there's a circle of flowers, if you want to, even a circle of thistles around you, creating protection. And in this moment, let's welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. All right, let's get started with your catalyst. We've had a common theme this month about necessary changes and changes for the better. You're no exception to that rule here. We have mystery, healing, and rebirth signified by the snake. The snake, of course, can represent like a kundalini or an energetic awakening. So some of you might actually, I'm thinking of the breath that we were talking about with the thistle, you might be catching your breath after a difficult beginning of the year, maybe even a difficult quarter of the last 2 or 3 months. And now there's this feeling of invigoration. There could also be a second wind, like when you're in a race and you think you're done, and then all of a sudden you get this newfound jolt of energy. So I'm seeing that as well. because this was reversed, there is a little bit of resistance to the change that wants to come forth. There needs to be maybe a little bit more focus on healing, mind, body, and spirit, emotions as well. And then leaving some things up to mystery, trusting that sometimes you can be pleasantly surprised by your own body's ability to heal, by the universe to give you a synchronicity that you've been set up to walk through. And I say that because we have a window of opportunity presented by the Death card here in the crowning position. But the only thing that could hold you back from that is your own disbelief. There could also be some challenges with power and authority, because the snake can represent that. And when I'm looking here specifically in wealth, we have the Strength card. So there could be someone there that really, takes a lot of time and energy to manage or deal with. The good news is this is a very fluid symbol. Snakes regularly shed their skin so that they can grow. One of the other challenges or opportunities this month is shedding a skin. It could be an old job, an old relationship, an old friendship. There could be a very significant change that's just about to come through. So this snake symbol sits somewhere squarely between like judgment and the world, the decision for the change to happen, and then the actual change itself. And so kind of back to the channeled messages, what is going on with respect to follow through this month? The follow through is where all of the power exists. All right, let's get everything lined up here. Take a quick scan before we begin. Change, absolutely. It's right there at the top with the Death card. I love this Death card because it comprises death and rebirth, and it actually looks really inviting. We have the World card. So again, that snake is kind of helping you get to that expansion. Most of the energy here is good. There are some things that are difficult to see, or the universe maybe wants you to kind of like just trust in your own path without feeling like everything needs to be in black and white. We'll talk more about the Two of Swords when we get to it. I want to begin with your centermost card, the Page of Cups in reverse. One of the initial opportunities this month to really make sure that you have a firm foundation is to take care of your emotional well-being. If you felt just a heavy sort of emotional toll, pressure, stress, anxiety, or fear, and I know it's only been a month, but maybe, January put a lot of that out there because it's a new year with a lot of changes. Reach out for help. Take some things off your sort of like to-do list or your schedule. Delegation, self-care, nurturing. Once you do that, you're going to be able to see, that there's a lot of different opportunities. I love that we have like this little flying pig up there, and my hand is on the other one here, which is love. So if you open yourself up to receive something more than you imagined, the universe is ready to deliver. But there is some emotional clouds, some cobwebs around the heart that we need to work at clearing. And as we go through the cards, I'll help you there. Once you get this into the upright position by just taking care of yourself, you may be at a point where some good news is coming through, where an opportunity comes knocking, where love or relationships may either arrive or intensify if they're already there. So let's see what's blocking that, because that's a very good card. There could be the inner saboteur coming forth. Five of Swords can sometimes be our own inner voice saying something like, this won't happen, or you're not this or that enough, good enough, strong enough, smart enough, etc. These are no longer serving you. They're just fear projections that are running in your mind. So you need to go through and kind of like Control-Alt-Delete and reboot the program. The other thing is there could be someone in your life that kind of makes you feel like this. They're not listening. They're not taking accountability. They really aren't there to put in the work. You're at a point now, Virgo, where it's so important to get that sort of reciprocity that if you're not feeling it, it's okay to keep things at arm's length. The other thing here is pick and choose the time. If someone isn't ready to hear something, save your breath. And what a powerful thing, because we talked about breath is life. If we stop breathing, we stop living. But it's also breathing life into things, using your sort of frequency to communicate with someone. Someone may not just be ready, worthy, or receptive to your wisdom and your energy. Save it. Use it elsewhere. And that's really how you can transmute the Five of Swords. As we look at the karmic lesson for this month, we have Queen of Cups energy coming forth. And she once again is reminding you of the importance of tuning in. When she is in tune with her emotions, when she is not beholden to them, but rather kind of like working with them, like in the form of creativity and inspiration, that's when things really get exciting. But just like the page was reversed, so is the queen. There is a necessary moment to basically heal and receive. Queen cards are very nurturing. So I read a reverse queen as a chance to say, I would like this, or I need this. And it can be in any facet of your life. You need it to feel safe. You need it to feel supported. You need it because it's just something that you desire. It's making sure that you're more communicative of those wants, needs, and desires so that the universe can show up. There's a lot of creative energy coming forth. If your emotions are good and you're like, Nicholas, I'm fine, then there could just be a ton of creative energy coming forth. Also, if you are in that category of someone that is looking for love, it could come through and kind of like sweep you off your feet and take your breath away. And so the breathing energy just keeps coming through. So take a moment, really just be present and let go of any fear or anxiety and kind of sit with this new opportunity or this new relationship for a moment and just think, do I feel better or do I feel worse? Any decision, you should have enough time to make it. You might need a week, you might need 2. Sit with it. Because I am getting just a lot of emotions. This was actually part of the reason I decided to take a break from being in LA. I needed to get into some other environments because I'm really sensitive. There was a lot of energy, a lot of sadness, a lot of frustration. I was picking up on that too. Plus the air quality is bad. So I needed to kind of separate myself for a bit so that I could find me again, because it's sometimes very difficult. So this can, if we kind of now relate it back to you, there could be a familial situation, a work situation, a health incident, and it kind of like takes you off your center. So I'd love for you to spend the first week of the month finding your center again. And then after that, we can lean into the very positive and powerful Queen of Cups, which is beauty, creativity, kindness, empathy, intuition. And you've got all of that. Just a little bit of centering is necessary first, okay? As we take a look at recent past, we have 5 of Cups. This is a recalibrating energy. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, you see 2 cups behind the individual, but they're focused on the 3 cups that are spilled. So it can be regret. It could be could have, should have, would have. That could be the 3 different cups. But right behind you is something better, possibly someone who's willing to reach out and support you. Because the 2 of Cups can represent friendship, camaraderie, love, family, or just something that's worth exploring. What's necessary first, and we've already talked about it at great length, but I'll just highlight it one more time, is grieving and releasing. Because this is often a card associated with grief. It doesn't have to be heavy grief. It can just sometimes be, gosh, I really wanted that and I didn't get it. Sometimes it can be a breakup, and it can also be something more intense. But processing that is the most important thing. And then again, I do feel like there'll be a turning point. This part of the spread is 10 cards. This is the 5th card. We could roughly say that this is going to be the midpoint of the month where the turning point comes through. And it's a really powerful card that we see here, Death and Rebirth. We actually kind of get it here too. It could be around the 13th. I mean, because February is a shorter month, that actually kind of tracks. But anyway, Death and Rebirth. Let's talk about it. So what I'm being shown in my mind's eye is, if you've ever been in a corporate building or shopping center, sometimes there are those doors where it's kind of like this. It's like a turnstile. You walk in and it just keeps moving. So Death and Rebirth is cyclical like that. Yes, a door will close, but a new one opens almost as quickly as that. So there is it's almost like a little bit of stubbornness. Like, I know I want to do this, but do I really want to do? There's like a little lingering doubt. I feel like you've made the decision, and I can't tell you what to do, but I can encourage you to not second guess yourself, because it feels like you've made valid like lists and thought processes to get to this point. So don't overthink it. That's what I see. So this is the Reaper, and he has a scythe. And so what I also see here is reaping the rewards of the tough lessons, the hard work, all of the energy that you put into building yourself up to this moment. This is your time. This is your turn. And this is an end to something that you don't like. A lack of something or a presence of something, whatever it is where you feel like, I'm done with this. Amen to that. Yes, you are. And really the focus on this one is creation, rebirth. And if you felt stuck, This is an encouragement also to look at it from a different angle. So if it's like dating, maybe it's taking some time off or trying to date a different type of person, working on some qualities within. If it's a job, maybe organizing what it is that you're trying to do and reimagining it rather, so that you might be applying to a different type of job in a different industry, in a different location. If you just feel stagnant, this is about creating some change for the better, but no more rinse and repeat. That's the main takeaway with this death and rebirth card. You have to change it up a bit. As we look at the near future, this is why I say change for the better. A door closes, but a bigger one opens. This is the ultimate card in the major arcana. She is ready to receive, she's graduating, and she's going to go bigger, better, and brighter. Whatever was causing some of the other cards here to come through, like some of the emotional heaviness here, or the grieving here, or the headache here, it's gone. I mean, everything else on this side is pretty good. So I do feel like there's a little bit of internal work to do, but once you get there, then we have expansion. For business, this is thinking bigger, it's going further, it's reaching further. For personal development, same thing, not putting some sort of an imaginary ceiling on what's possible. And this is a card associated with travel and really big events in your life. I mentioned a few, they're typically very positive ones too. So this would be like birth, graduation, marriage, moving, traveling, promotion, expansion, and positive momentum, especially since the card is upright. So lean into that, if you will. This is also a time where something that you've been working on can actually come to fruition. There might have been this feeling of, I can't do it, or why can't I do it? And then there's this feeling of stress. And then you start to freak out a little bit, but maybe you reach out to that support in the Five of Cups and everything changes. Now we have arguably one of the best cards. That's the ultimate, but this is one of the best. Because it's all about solar plexus, power, birthing, creating. It's a very, very positive energy here in the sun. So in this moment in time, you are opening up or reconnecting with your inner power and your inner ability to pull things into your trajectory to create the necessary change and movement. In the traditional illustration, it would be a little baby. So this is also a month to birth or release or let go of things. I love that this one too, the sun is almost like a fertilized egg. So I was talking about the seed pods. You could manifest something and bring it to the end point in this month if you want to. Things are really moving quicker now for you. They were sluggish before, but this is the breakthrough. This is the shift. This is a sort of like turning point. And I have seen that for several signs. So I think February is going to be a lot stronger, a lot more stable, a lot better for many of us. And that's a welcome change. The last thing here is I keep seeing all these little fish, all these little Pisces. There could also be a Piscean energy in your life, or maybe because we're just going into the energy of Aquarius, there's an encouragement to let go of rigid thought and just allow yourself to go with the flow. As we take a look at the environment here, we have the Ace of Cups coming through. By and large, this is a very good card, but it is reversed. And the message that I get when I look at this is just to trust your heart, your instincts, your intuition. We can see that this illustration is squarely right over the heart space. And sometimes we just, again, talk ourselves into something that we don't believe in or out of something that we know we should do. So don't do that this month. That's the main thing that I get there. There could also be an unexpected surprise. So I mentioned that I would go into a little bit more detail of this Two of Swords. We have recognition, we have love, we have power coming through here. And so some of this may take you by surprise because, as I said, maybe the first month of the year was a little tricky, or it's been a while since, good news has come your way. But in the environment, lo and behold, we have something here where there's a shift. Since the crowning card is all about change, this could be also a change for the better. Now, I read Ace of Cups reversed as discerning as well. So you could be sitting here and thinking, is it good enough or is it not? And that's an okay thing to do. Make sure that it feels right for your energy, for your life, for wherever you're at right now. But all of those things notwithstanding, if it's just simply you doubting yourself, don't do that. We already see that you're set up for success, okay? The last thing here is if you need or want something, just like I saw with the dandelion or the the thistle seed pod, this is a time to make a wish. Breathe it into existence. Breathing, I'm also getting is like speaking it into existence. So I would love this, or I would like that, or can we do this? Somehow put it out there as a question or a wish and see what the universe might do. We have a recognition card here in Hopes, Fears, and Opportunities. This portends good things. As I said, this is a month where you're represented by a birthing energy. So if you do put something out there and you've been working on it, this is recognition for a job well done. This is also a card associated with education, higher learning, expansion of knowledge. So if you need training or certification or mentorship, yes, this is a perfect time to do it. For those of you that are creative writers or want to put something in written or contractual form, Three of Pentacles is perfectly aligned with that goal as well. The only thing that's unique to this particular deck that I'm using while traveling is the signals are in the wrong direction. So be direct. Be very direct. Don't give mixed signals when there's something that you want. This is particularly when it comes to written communication. Now let's talk about the Two of Swords. I mentioned earlier that there could be surprises, positive surprises. So here you're showing up as the sun, so people may be looking at you for leadership opportunities. We have love or praise coming through, and some of you may just be surprised that things are going in a new direction. It's okay. You don't have to worry so much about the past. The past is just that. It's in the past. This card is also an invitation to get ahead of things. If there's a little ache or pain, take care of it when it's little before it gets big. Same thing would go for any sort of maintenance in your car, in your house, in your computer. Preventative maintenance and ahead of the sort of like check-in dates, that's going to be very, very key. The other thing here is not everything's going to be obvious this month. This is an invitation to go inward, to use some of the creative energy that we saw with the Queen of Cups or the Page of Cups and really put it into writing or practice. You can take people by surprise. So be open to positive surprises. Again, get ahead of anything before it becomes bigger. And then also look for things that are beyond the obvious. Your inspiration, your creativity. This is really where the energy is taking you this month. Let's expand this forecast a little bit and see if we can't get some more insights when it comes to health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning, of course, with the card of health, looking at your mind, body, and spirit. All right, so you received here the Eight of Pentacles, and it's a really interesting illustration, so I want to bring it closer to the camera. The first thing that I'm noticing, even before we talk about what this card represents, is the spider and the web. So this is encouraging you not to get kind of pulled into other people's webs. It could be drama, deception, depression. A lot of times people can just kind of weave that energy around them and they want to pull someone in. So you're going to keep arm's length if you recognize that. This is also about the fine print, going more into the traditional sense. And because the card is reversed, there may be something that you want to make sure that you understand or you might have missed in the fine print. So if you're looking at a prescription or if you're looking at a contract or if you're just not getting what someone's saying, ask them to break it down so that there's no room for confusion, okay? This is a revisionary card as well. And so when it comes to something that you're doing in your life, it might be a chance or an opportunity for you to revise habits and to put together an itinerary or schedule so that you have like this blueprint for how to stay organized, how to stay on track. There definitely is a writing component to this as well. And that's pretty much everything that I'm getting with this. In the traditional card, it's also kind of like I have done right here, rolling up your sleeves and getting work done. So making sure that you are taking time to do the things that you want to do. I'm kind of getting a management, like time management energy on this. So if there's something that you really want to focus on, the other thing that I'm being shown is like distraction. There may not be the sort of quiet or environmental sort of like tranquility that you need to get something done. So like in the case of a student, maybe you need to go to a library or maybe you just need some time to meditate. There's something about clearing, cleaning, revising, and that's going to help you out from a health perspective. Okay, let's look at some of the other cards here and see what else is going on. We already talked at great length about these, so that this is basically emotional sensitivity and any sort of stress that you might be dealing with. That's the first and most important thing. Same thing with this. This can be grief. This can be also connected to that. But I do feel like this is a month where a turning point is possible for you because we go from the death, rebirth, and then to this expansion energy here, and then everything lights up. Getting out and traveling could actually be very good, or exploring a little bit more. Creating some time in your life for like this can be art, writing, dance, creative ventures. That is going to help you get rid of some, and exercise as well. It helps you get rid of some of the energy that was over here. Solar plexus, you might want to focus a little bit on what's going on around the stomach. There could be some tension that you're holding on to that can affect the appetite. There could be some other pains or issues. Some of you might be pregnant because this can be a little birth symbol here with the baby that's typically on this card. So slow down, take care of yourself, nurture yourself. And again, don't ignore something going on in your body. But in particular with this, it might be time for some glasses or for a hearing test. Otherwise, things look pretty good and fairly manageable. Let's go ahead and move on from health to wealth. So in wealth, we have strength coming through. You can handle anything that comes your way. Here's the interesting thing. We don't have the person on this card. There's no woman kind of going into the mouth of the lion. So in this situation, you may be the lion and someone else may try to come through and put words in your mouth or get you to agree to something. We were talking earlier about the importance. You have 2 Ace of Cups. I'm just noticing it now. Make sure that it feels right. You can push back if it doesn't. Don't get convinced to do something that doesn't sit well with you. You may also decide to cut someone free if they continually come in and try to sort of like, control, manipulate, or somehow influence something. So it's a very small subsection, but I wanted to mention that. Before I get into everything, I have to highlight change for the better, change that may come by surprise, but change that could lead to partnership and also to people acknowledging and praising what it is you're working on. There's some good changes coming through. Let's go ahead and break this down into more granular categories so that you can see how this message relates to you. Okay, so this one, we have 5 subgroups that I normally look at. Let me just get these cards all stacked up and we will begin. All right, so in wealth, we'll look at those of you that are currently employed, followed by entrepreneurs, then job seekers, then we'll take a look at students, and finally, those that are retired. For those of you that are working, we have a pretty favorable card here, the 10 of Cups. But when it's reversed, sometimes there can be family, peer, or coworker pressure to sort of do something. And we talked earlier so much about the importance of being discerning, standing up for yourself. That's why strength is here, and saying, I want it or I don't want it. Don't let someone else pressure you into it. This could also be something like membership in a club, union dues, an extracurricular activity, something that kind of brings you closer to the coworkers, but there's still a cost of time, energy, and possibly money. So you also have to decide if that's what you want. Now, in the upright position, this is about family and love. And for some of you, you are trying to find the balance between work and everything that we see in this card, right? Friendship, family, love, children, whatever of that mix that you're looking for. It doesn't have to be either or. There can be a blending of the two. And so I feel like the biggest challenge for those of you that are working this month is having healthy boundaries, not going to one extreme or the other in any of those categories, like too many extracurriculars, too much time with the family, too much time with work. It's finding the happy medium. Remember in this equation, because we have all of these cards of sensitivity, even this one, all the cups are reversed. Most of the other cups are upright. So that is saying that you don't want to put yourself second. This is a month where you really have to make sure that in the long run, you'll be happy with whatever decision is next. It could be promotion. So let's move aside from this and look at this. This is recognition, this is expansion, this is a change. So there could be a change in your job, sort of like pay or title. Some of you are feeling ready to go. You may not have exactly everything laid out just yet. Stick around for those that are job seeking. I'll look at it in just a couple of moments, but knowing is half the battle. So you can start to map out how long you want to stay and what you want to do next. For everybody else, I feel like you're just getting through a period where there was some stagnation. Speak up, try some new things. You'll be happy that you did it. I feel like you could surprise yourself and others with your just acumen, knowledge, and capacity. Okay, let's move on to those of you that have your own company. It's a fantastic card and it's upright, 2 of Wands. The encouragement in the 2 of Wands is to do as much planning and mapping out and blueprinting and prototyping as possible. It's future oriented, but it's a constant process of dreaming, thinking, and calibrating. If you move forward without that, you could potentially miss on a trend or a change in the market. So that's something to think about. I think this is a perfect time for those that have their own business to launch something. I think it'll be well received and you might be pleasantly surprised. It looks like it might be time for expansion for some of you. The challenge, though, is there could be an unhappy employee. That could be you, but whoever the unhappy employee is, that needs to be dealt with first so that all of this can start to come through, all the positivity. You might have outgrown where you're working and you need a new location. Expansion is the main thing that I see for those of you that have your own company. Let's move on to job seekers. I'm laughing because one more cups card in reverse. We have a lot of nice upright ones, but most of the cups are reversed. So emotions, satisfaction, desires, wants. These are the things that have to come into focus as you choose the next thing. So if you're looking for something, it feels like it needs to be creative and supportive. An upright King of Cups would be both of those things. If you settle for something, it doesn't feel like it's going to stick for a while. And I do feel like, based on what I'm seeing here with the expansion of the world, it's time for something to stick around. So make a change because it feels right. Don't I'm staying with some family, and one of them mentioned you should always be moving towards something. Don't run away, but basically, and it's not about running towards, but it's moving towards a goal, a dream, or a vision. As long as you are focused and grounded, the sky's the limit. A lot of creativity coming through this month. If there's anything that you can do to channel that, do it. If you are feeling sort of heightened emotions, how can you rein those in to be something that create inspiration? So it's easier to do that when it's like frustration or jealousy. You're like, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make this work. And you just do it. But that's what I'm seeing is rechanneling the emotions into something creative and productive. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else. If you're job seeking, can you find it? You might have, yes, 2 opportunities. And this one could be related also to your partner because it comes into relationships. So one or both of you might be experiencing some new growth. When it comes to the job opportunity that I see in the environment, because of this, just be discerning. Make sure that you like it as it is and that you'll be happy with that for a bit. I do see that overall, when we're looking at finances and growth opportunities, it feels like it can be a step up the next thing. When can it happen? Well, again, it feels like the midpoint of the month is really good. This is the middle of the spread. It's the 5th card. And then it's also, we have the 13th, which is roughly the middle of the month because there's 28 days. So 13th, 14th, that's when things start to happen, okay? There's something, again, in the fine print that you need to make sure that you understand. And if you want something more while job seeking, negotiate, ask for it. You never know what's possible. All right, let's move on to students. We have a card that's normally associated with traveling, the 6 of Swords. You may be deciding to transfer to a new school or university. You might be changing your major. You might be setting up an internship for now or this summer, something of that nature. There could also just be this sort of wish to explore a little bit, to travel. And I think it's really good to do that. I sandwiched in an international internship between undergraduate and graduate so that I could go to another country, experience life. I think everybody should do it no matter where you live. It gives you it makes you kinder and more understanding of different cultures. So absolutely, I think this is a great time to plan for that. All right, moving on to those that are retired. You may be retired, but there's an opportunity knocking. The Ace of Pentacles is either you saying, I want to do this, or someone coming to you and saying, we could use your expertise, your help. Are you in? So this is a really good month for that if you're interested. You might be deciding to read, write, or research a little bit more. Relationships are coming through. We're going to look at them in just a second, but there's a lot of friendship, networking, and relationship opportunities if you're open to it. That being said, why don't we get into love and see what the universe wants to bring forth. So we have an Ace of Cups in reverse. The first message here for everybody is the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. Do you love, accept, and support who you are? If there's something going on where that self-respect, that self-confidence, that self-love is missing a little bit, the main focus right now is to build it up and to take care of you. There could also be some healing that is necessary in the heart space. We have a lot of cards associated with grief and loss, and you might have lost something significant. And this is a moment for you to say, I need to heal first before I welcome someone in. And even if you're in a relationship, you have to heal yourself because your partner can't fix everything. So this is about healing. Ultimately, though, let's say everything's good. This is just saying, open yourself up to receive. This is kind of like a block. So for those of you that thought to yourself, I'm done with this, I don't have any more time or room in my life for a relationship or something, you're shutting the door. And meanwhile, it wants to open up, okay? Let's take a look at this. We'll go a little deeper and see what's coming through for the different relationship statuses. All right, 3 categories here. We'll look at those that are in a relationship, looking for love, and happy and single, or single and happy. All right, if you're in a relationship, what we have here is it's busy. 8 of Wands, there's a lot going on. Take time to slow down and be with one another. The other thing here is things could start to get really exciting and pick up a little bit in the relationship. And maybe you're planning on doing some traveling or some things together. The main thing here is don't overextend, slow down, spend some time with each other. That is going to help in the long run. Looking at the general spread for some other notes, there could be a birth of a child. If you're wanting to conceive, this is a great time to do so. Big changes, big moves. Maybe a promotion, maybe a decision to sell or buy a new house, and then recognition. So it feels like this is a time to test the bonds of the relationship because of the change energy. It does feel like you've been through some stuff. Again, maybe not all in the core of the relationship. It could be some other things externally. But if you put in the work, things are going to be okay. With the 2 of Swords, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about before we move on to the next category. And that is, for those of you in a relationship, make sure that you say thanks. Sometimes the other party is just wondering, did you see, did you hear, did you notice? And if you're the one that's wondering, ask, just say, hey, I did this. Is that something that you want to do again? Especially if it was like, something that you cooked, a trip that you made, or something that you changed in the schedule. Check in, talk to each other. I also think that there could be things there's a temptation to ignore. And if you notice something happening now, talk about it before it gets bigger. This will help you avoid an argument, okay? That's the last takeaway for that. All right, let's move on to those of you that are looking for love. Can you find it? Yes. We have cups all over the spread. It's going to be a Cancer, Scorpio, or a Pisces because it's everywhere. But this Page of Cups is also reversed, just like the center Page of Cups. So like attracts like. Right now, for some of you, there's a little bit of healing that needs to be done. What'll happen is if it doesn't get integrated and completed before you meet someone, there'll be a little lesson attached to that where you guys teach each other and then hopefully can move past that. But let's pull in a partner, not a teacher. The Page of Cups in reverse is, here's what it can be. It doesn't necessarily always have to be deep wounds. It's just about, I'm deserving, I'm ready, I can receive this. It could be receiving help, receiving a compliment, simply believing and embracing the fact that someone's interested, loving yourself and believing that someone would find you lovable. So your mantra is, I'm more than enough for myself or others. That brings you into the upright position, and that helps you bring in your Page of Cups, which we saw at the center. Lots and lots of fish across all of these, so there could be a Pisces energy. I keep seeing the fish in all these illustrations. But a couple things I want to mention here, which is, there may be someone that isn't as good at listening as you. It could also be a communication barrier because they're from a different country or speak a different language. I see a karmic connection, past life. The past life connection was unrequited love. That's why this time it's coming through as a confidence thing. There's a question like, do I deserve it? Because you didn't get it before, but you can get it this time. But you have to love yourself enough to believe that it's coming, right? So I think that's the only block that I'm kind of picking up on here. You don't have to do anything except the inner work. The 2 of Swords is like the universe wants to give you a happy surprise. It probably would be connected to work or school or extracurriculars because the 3 of Pentacles is here. I definitely don't think it's someone that you've met. The world is someone that's, again, it's from a different sort of group or maybe even a different country. Like when I say group, I mean friend group. I feel like this is someone new in the mix, which is kind of exciting, okay? Now let's move on to single and happy. It's all about healing this month. Cutting any cords with people that exhibit either the 10 or the 5 of Swords energy. There's too much positive stuff going on. You don't have the time for this anymore. There could also be chronic pain or fatigue that you're dealing with and taking care of, and that's probably part of the reason you're like, you know what, I'm good. I just have to focus on myself. I think also just a general encouragement not to overwork and really to focus on a passion project for yourself. Because as you get out, mix and mingle, or as you put your energy into something that you love, then we can move on to something higher here. So we would go from the 10 of Swords to like the Page of Swords. So the ability to take a deep breath, get your second wind, and allow for things to move in an exciting direction. All right, let's go to destiny. The 5 of Wands. This is interesting because I'm looking at the scattering of these wands. It's very unusual with respect to the traditional one. I actually feel like there's a little bit of a note here on like sort of relationships, friendships. Have you ever noticed as you get older and people scatter into their different sort of pockets of the world or their different activities, it gets harder to bring it all together. That's okay. So if there are people right now that are kind of like radiating outward into an outer orbit of your life, that's okay, because I do feel like there's something stronger coming forth. And this is just a clearing period for many of you. Clearing the old cycles, the old cobwebs, some of the old relationships and habits, making room for upgrades, for something bigger, better, and brighter. When it comes to working or any sort of activity, this is an exhausting sort of card because you put a lot of effort in, but it's sometimes duplicative or unnecessary or just not well received. So be discerning, lead the charge. The next one is the 6 of Wands. If you don't like something, change it. If you don't want to stay in a situation, leave, especially with this death and rebirth energy at the top. This is the time for major changes in a positive way. So if it just feels like rinse and repeat and you're kind of like spinning your wheels, you don't need my permission, but the cards are actually showing that this is the time to shift into something new. All right, let's take a look now at one final card for today. Go ahead and meditate on your question, and let's see what the universe has in store for you. Okay, so if you asked me a yes or no, as we're looking here at the final card, the question, or the answer I should say, is not yet. 5 of Pentacles is about inner healing, and it's about self-worth. Self-worth equates to net worth. The more you focus on feeling this sense of accomplishment, worthiness, and you heal any of the wounds of the past, the more you are going to find the recognition that we talked about, the positive trajectory that this month really wants to bring forth. But there might be a past setback, or even just over the course of the last 2 or 3 months where it's like, it's not moving. But it will this month. The death and rebirth energy is showing a portal, a change, some movement. And it could take you by surprise. You may be surprised at what you like. This is so powerful because just opening up to thinking, oh, maybe I could do that. Whether it's like where you might work, where you might live, who you might decide to date. When you open yourself up to try something different, even like food, maybe I'll try that. Maybe I like it. Maybe you will. I'd like you to be open to the maybe, like what's possible. If there's any blocks, you have the key to unlock them this month. When it comes to compensation, when it comes to what other people are investing in a relationship or in I would say even in just anything, make sure that there's reciprocity. If the reciprocity is missing, now is time to ask for more. Generally speaking, this is also just an encouragement to take care of your health, avoid getting sick and working yourself to extremes. The other thing is, because some of us are in inclement weather, watch where you're walking, because sometimes this can be a twisted ankle or a broken bone, and we don't want any of that. All right, my friends, that's everything for this month. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, like and subscribe, and then leave me a comment below. Let me know what part of this resonated most. I read all the comments and I appreciate them. Thank you. You can also follow me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. On Blue Sky, it's nicholasashbaugh.com. And that's also the name of my website, of course, so you can go there for more information. If you would like to give back in the form of a super sticker, super chat, or a membership, I just want to say thank you. All of those things go into helping me produce new content, like the brand new podcast, which if you haven't checked it out, you should. I just interviewed Matthias DeStefano, and it's one of my favorite episodes. So it'll be on the main channel page. Let me know what you think about that. So just you showing up, that's the best part of all of this. So thank you very much. Before I grab Apollo, because I will bring him up at the end, just a reminder that I don't give private readings and I don't use direct messages. So please be safe when it comes to that. Let's pull Apollo up for a quick hello. Hey, buddy. Everyone wants to say hi? Yes. All right. Apollo's doing great. He's enjoying the traveling. Some of you had asked about that. He's in the middle of a nap, so a little bit sleepy. Thank you guys so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. Wishing you all the best now and always. Take care.